Hey guys, so in the last video we made these pretty little flowers, these little fancy flowers, do-it-yourself fancy flowers with flowers you already have, mostly. And I got an idea, so I'm going to share it with you. I also shared this photo of this little box. This is the Small Keepsake Box minus the lid. So when I traced it out, I just didn't trace the lid. So what I wanted to do was have a tray for my little the little cut off pieces that get all spread out all over the place. So I wanted to have a place I've seen a lot of people do it, and I'm like, why do people do that? Well, it does save a lot of time. So I made myself one, which is, I'm going to dump it right now. So it just makes it easy to dump it into the garbage, and voila. So, and the cute little Tim Holtz feet, these are new, I think. I'm not 100% sure. They're box feet, and they're called mini foundations. Aren't they cute? So that's what they look like. And then I just added some gesso and some of my ink to it. So it just looks really pretty. I love this little shabby look. So I made this box, a useful thing that I needed. So I thought, well, when I was doing the flowers in the last video, I had this tray out and I had it full of flowers, and I had a wire basket sitting nearby with all the different packs of flowers in it. So I thought, well, I need a better storage or useful storage unit. So I made this box. So I just made this box today. That's why my hands are all inky. And what this is the medium keepsake box. And let me remove these flowers. So it's just 2 keepsake boxes of the medium put together without the lid. So what I thought I would do, I thought it would be great to have when I'm working on a project to put all of my stuff, like the ephemera and the flowers and all the chipboard pieces and all of that in one side, and then when I open something, have it over here so I can look through it in the other. And it's pretty to look at, and I used my background to line the inside, and then I used some scraps that are in my scrapper keeper to do the outside. So I really liked this idea. Let me put these back in here. So all the flowers that I was, well, not all, there's a few missing, are in here. And then here's the flowers that dried and I haven't put them up yet. So they turned out so pretty. I hope you guys try that. So what I thought it would be nice, it would just be able to move, on my station. I could bring it all at one time. I don't have to, usually I have let me find it. Usually I have a leftover a food container that I've washed and kept. That's usually where I put my flowers in, but I thought this would be prettier. Plus it's another way for me to use my templates to be able to get more use out of them, I guess. So then what I thought is I needed another tray system. So I come up with one. Let me move this out of the way. So I thought it would be cool to have, not with any feet on it, this will just be a flat thing. So I thought it would be cool, like when I was working on the flowers, to be able to have all of my stuff that I was using, in a tray where I could just move it around and I wouldn't have to look for it. I'm always looking for stuff, it drives me insane. So what I thought I would do is use the Small Keepsake Box and make a 3 section tray. So let me show you how I think I'm going to do it. Scoot this stuff out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my template for my Small Keepsake Box. I will put the links to the keepsake templates in the description box below, along with other stuff that I use. So what I thought I would do is, I really put some thought into it, and I think the best way to do it is to fold this bottom flap right there up, and then find you a corner and match up 2 corners, and then fold all of that. So all you have left down is your base, let me get a pencil, and your 2 side pieces. So then I'm just going to trace around that like that. And then I'm going to open this back up. And then I'm going to fold this down and I'm going to trace that line, trace that line, okay? So then all you have is that. This is a 12 by 12 sheet of medium weight chipboard, by the way. So then I'm going to keep that folded up and then I'm going to line it up and lay it right next to the one I just traced. Just like that. Fold that down, draw a straight line, draw this line, open her back up, trace this, and trace this. Okay, so now we've got 2. So then I'm going to lay this down one more time and hopefully get it matched up pretty good. If not, it's okay. I'm not going to stress. Okay, there's one line. Put this, oop, forgot to do this one. Put this down, trace this line, and this line. Okay, so that's what we got. That's what we ended up with. So we've got 3 sections. So then what you need to do is turn your chipboard sideways, and then you just need to trace this long section here. And you need to do this 4 times. So the way I'm going to do that, I think, is I'm going to flip it up first. Trace this part. You could make yourself a separate template, you know, print it off again and just, well, you know, make yourself one instead of doing all this flippity flip. So I am drawing that line a little longer because we're going to have 2 side by side, like that. So there's one, so then I'm going to match it up. Like that. I'm going to flip it over. I need to sharpen my pencil. Trace that line. And then these 2. Yep, I think yeah. So then there's 2 of this, and then we need 2 more. So I've got an extra piece sitting right here. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. Okay, so I've got all my pieces traced. I've got 4 of these long side pieces, and then I've got my 3 base pieces traced out. Let me grab my cutting board. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these out using this is a Pal score mat. This is just a Stanley box cutter. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take away the negative space. Well, the space that we don't need. I don't know if it's actually negative. So my pencil lines are really thick. That's okay. Okay. So then I'm going to turn it to its side. They're still together. The 2 are still together. So then I'm just going to score the chipboard, make 2 light well, maybe 2 or 3 light passes. I'm going to flip it around, 2 or 3 light passes. And then I'm going to flip it this way. Let's flip it this way. I had drawn my line crooked first. Then I'm going to split them apart. So there's those 2. And so for this one, I'm going to cut it completely out all the way around. Okay. So I'm going to cut these 2 the same way I cut these 2. I just won't do it on camera. Okay, so then this one. Like that. And so then you don't want to score these 2 marks in the middle. You only want to score the 2 long pieces. And you're just scoring them, so don't cut all the way through. So a couple light passes. Sometimes my light passes are heavy, so sometimes I have to start over or construct them together. Okay. So now we have something that looks like this. So there's the 2 long sides, and then these are going to be the 2 sides, and then there's going to be 2 dividers. So what I need you to do now is, before you go any further, get your template back out. And what we want to do is we want to mark the inside of the template. So basically I'm just lining it up to that edge. I'm going to flip all that over, and then I'm going to take a Sharpie, maybe, and I'm going to draw a line all the way across, because that's where our dividers are going to be. So then I'm going to take it again, line it up best I can, and you want to use a Sharpie because you want to be able to see, depending on what medium you're going to put on there for the edges. You don't even have to do anything if you don't want to. So then now we got a guide, so when the box is put together we know where to put our dividers. So now I'm going to put this back. I might need to put me another piece of tape on there. Okay, so let me finish. Oh, and then I'm also I'm gonna cut these corner pieces. Just gonna notch the sides of these. These are the parts that are gonna attach to the sides of the box. So I'm just gonna knock those off. It just makes for a cleaner look. So I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna cut these other 2 pieces out, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got all these pieces ready to go. I got my 4 side pieces, and then I've got this scored and ready to go. So now what we need is some strips to attach the 2 pieces here. So since I have this left over from doing the other box, I'm going to use this. And this is page was that? That's page 2. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to score it. Let me cut this edge off real quick, just so I can see the bottom. So I'm going to score this, just that one piece, these 2 long pieces here, that's all I need. I'm going to go ahead and give it a score. Ooh, I pushed a little too hard there. That's okay. So then I am just going to trim it out with my scissors instead of getting my paper trimmer out. It really isn't that crucial. That's why I just used my scissors. So I'm going to put this back in my workbook. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and prep this. And I'm going to fold it the other way. And then before I cut it apart, I'm going to add my score tape. Now this, this is Suquane score tape. It's the same brand, but it's 3/8 of an inch. Is that right? 3/8? Yes. I thought I was ordering 1/4 of an inch, but I ordered 3/8 of an inch, so we're going to use it. So now I've got 5 rows of 3/8 of an inch versus 1/4 of an inch. So, and it's fine. I'm just going to run a piece of tape. It'll still work for this because it's not 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch would be too big. So you don't need this bigger score tape. It was just a boo-boo, and it's still, I can still use it, so I'm not worried about it. Alright, so we'll go ahead and add that score tape, and then I'm going to split them apart. And then I'm not even going to notch the corners because it doesn't matter. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take 2 of these pieces and make sure we know which way they're getting folded in. And we want to take the backing off of one side of this strip here. If you wanted to make your own strip, it's just a 1-inch piece of cardstock that you score in the middle. And then I'm going to attach it. The score side, I'm going to match it all the way down the edge there on this one. And then on this one, I'm going to do it, same thing, on the other side. So I'm going to match the score along the edge. There we go. Perfect. so then what we want to do is we just want to lay this up here next to it. Just like that. We want to remove the backing off of here. And fold it over. So now we've got one side attached, just like that. All right, and then we want to do the same thing over here. Go ahead and remove this score tape off of here. So then we're going to scooch it up, match it up, and fold that over. Okay? So now we've got 3 pieces. So now the next step is to, this is just a craft mat, a non-stick craft mat. I'm going to take some Distress Stain by Tim Holtz in Vintage Photo, and I'm going to go along all of the edges like this, front and back, like that. And then I'm going to tip it up on its side and be sure I get those top edges just in case you see them. So I'm going to do that to both of those, and then I'm going to do that to the front and back of this. Okay, where's my lid? What did I just do? So I already actually have one done and dry. So I'm going to grab that really quick because I didn't want to wait too long for it to dry. So it's the same thing. And then I also took the ink right down the middle of those 2 lines. So do you see them? There's the same 2 lines I marked. I don't know if you can see. There you go. Now you can see them. So I've already got one made, and here's my 2 extra pieces. So I'm going to set this one aside, and I'll finish that later. So I don't need this anymore, I don't think. Oh, I might. I better keep it close by. So now we're going to, this is the way everything is going together. So we need to, we need to flip it onto the other side like this and put tape on these tabs and put tape on these tabs. Okay, so I'm going to use my score tape again. And I'm just going to put 2 pieces of tape per tab. And I'm going to do all, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 8 tabs. Top and bottom, and then the 2 loose dividers. Okay, so I've got the score tape on all of them. I'm going to go ahead and burnish them down a little bit. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is, let's start on one end, and we'll just make this a long rectangle box first. Look, I'm not using my little box I made. Use the box. Yeah. So that, sequence. Goodness gracious. All right, so then you want to flip it back over, and then you just want to match. Wow, I did not cut this one very well. I must have got off. Oh, I did. When I trimmed this one out, my knife got the better of me. Not the better of me, but it kind of, the ruler slid so that, so this part right here is a little shorter. Can you see? Yeah. Oh well, I'm not going to stress about it. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over and take the backing off of these. Use my box. It really does. It is a time saver because you don't have to constantly wipe stuff off your table, you know. So I'm pretty glad I decided to go ahead and give it a try. Alright, so now we want to fold both of these suckers in, and we want to attach these corners like so. Okay. So then the next thing we want to do is we want to put our dividers in. So I haven't decided. I think I'll have the tabs going into the center box on both of them. I think that's what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it looks like it's going to want to bow a little bit, but I don't mind that either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go slow. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the backing off of both of these pieces, or both sides here. Oh, look, I did it again. See, I haven't had it long enough to really get used to doing that, but anywho, that's neither here nor there. All right, so I'm just gonna fold these suckers in like this. Oops, this one. So I'm gonna find that Sharpie mark, and then I'm gonna find this Sharpie mark, and I'm gonna press that side down. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Sharpie, Sharpie, press. So now we got one of the dividers in. So cute. So you can't even say, it didn't bow that bad, did it? That's pretty good. I like it. Might be a little crooked, but it's okay. That is my life. Crooked. I'm just crooked. Not in the bad sense, but crooked is, and I can't level it. Not something I can do. Look at I don't know. It's hard to explain, but my husband makes fun of me. So do my kids. So same thing. Let me do it this way. I'm going to put that in there, find that Sharpie mark. Like that, and then find this Sharpie mark. Press it up against there. Fold. And this Sharpie mark. Now what I probably should have done, the smart thing would have been to line the inside of the box before I put the dividers in, but hey, I wonder if I can slip it under there. No, so that's an option as well. But okay, so there's our box constructed, and we got our 3 sections. I'm so excited, this is so cute. Then we do need our mat back because we need to go. I'm not gonna put corner pieces on mine because I really kind of like this whole shabby look. You know, I really like it. So, oh look, I just dumped out on my, wow. I am a mess today, I tell you what. Okay. So I'm gonna take that same distress stain and I'm just gonna make sure that all of my joints here are covered because I'm not going to do any corner pieces. Get all 4 corners, and then I'm going to do all of these. These are not going to have feet, so, or this is not going to have feet. Like this one, because it's so cute with his feet. But this one doesn't really need feet, so neither did that one. I just really wanted to use those feet. I got 2 packs of them, thinking, well, when I first saw they were being, you know, that was one of his new things, I was like, oh, that'd be perfect for my small keepsake box. But they weren't out in time for me to use them on my original that I showed you a while back. So I had to use them. I had to make something with it, and that's what I did. I can't seem to get in there, and that's okay. Okay. So now the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to mat everything. So let me set this aside. Okay, so I am going to, these are the mats for the small keepsake box. So I'm going to use these. I'm just going to need the inside base one. I'm going to do the inside first, and then we'll do the outside. I'm going to use the inside base one, and the front and back panel one, and the side panel one. I'm going to set this aside. Actually, I'm going to leave them stuck down until I need them. I do that every time. But I've got it right here next to me. Literally right there next to me. So then, in my scrapper keeper, you know, I keep all of these large cut-off pieces and small cut-off pieces in here. And it's great because the small keepsake box can be matted with these large pieces. So I'm kind of on a purple kick right now with all these little boxes. It's my favorite color. So I'm going to get all of these large pieces, all these scraps that I have, I'm going to get them out. And I'm going to move this. I don't remember what paper line. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It is Blue Fern Studio Deja Vu. Pretty sure. I love this paper. This is all I have left of it, and I wish I had more, but I don't. So I'm going to, it's very sad. It makes me sad. I want some more. I'm going to pick out the color that I want for the inside. And purple always works, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough of this. I like the white. Unless I got another piece, that's not going to work. But I'm going to set it aside just in case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm just going to lay, this is the inside mat. And I'm just going to lay this on here like so. Got my pencil. And trace it. Oh, I swear, I really need to sharpen my pencil. I just got this pencil out too. So I'm going to trace it there and then I'm going to scoot it over. And trace it one more time. Like that. And then I need one more. So I'm going to trace it this way. Ooh, this is in a square cut. I want this corner. I really need to sharpen it. Good grief. Okay, so those are the 3 for right here. So I'm going to cut those out just with my scissors and have these ready to go. I'll probably ink everything at the same time. Alright, so there's my 3 pieces that are going to go in the base of the tray there. So I'm going to set those aside. And now I've already picked out some some papers. For, yeah, see, there's Deja Vu. Deja Vu. Blue Fern Studio. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Yep. Love, love this paper line. Alright, so I'm just going to cut some I'm going to lay this down. You know what? I'm going to get a new pencil. If I can find one. I got me another pencil. So what I'm going to do is we need, for the inside, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these long ones. So I'm going to trace this out. I'm just going to just go down the line here. Whoops. And try not to shift it. Let's see, I wonder if I can get all 6 of them off of one sheet here. I bet you I can. One more. It's cutting into this a little bit, but it's okay. I don't care. Yeah, that'd be fine. Okay, so I'm going to trace 6 of these out. So there's the long sides on the inside. So then the short sides, I'm going to get the template for that. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 6 of those. And are these all directional? It's kind of a collage, so it doesn't, oh wait a minute. This one is a directional. So what I think I can do is, yep, I can lay them this way, right? And just one, just go down the line like this. Okay, I've got all my pieces cut out, and then I inked them up with my archival ink and coffee. So I'm going to scoot that aside. I don't need it right this second. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mat one of these little sections with you, and then I'll mat the other ones off of camera, so it won't, off of camera? I'll mat the other ones off camera. Okay. So I'm going to start with the base. I'm using my Fabri-Tac. Hang on. I'm using my Fabri-Tac by Beacon. Somebody asked me, how do you prevent it from bubbling up, you know, when you sit it back down straight? The best way I can tell you to prevent that is to let the glue take its time to get down to the nozzle. That way no excess air gets in there. When you shake it down, like I do all the time because I'm extremely impatient, it causes air to be forced in there. So when you flip it right back up, it will ooze. So, and it doesn't always work when you do it that way. I would like to say that it does all the time, but it doesn't always. So I'm just going to lay this in here and wiggle this around. If you wanted to, you could use some ATG tape, but I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. So there's the base. And then I'm going to go ahead, there's 4 sides. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, did I not print enough? No, I need, let's see. Well, yeah, 1, 2, 3/4. So I need too long, too short. So see, my thing didn't bubble up. See, there's nothing extra coming out there. So now I'm gonna let it come down on its own here before I start to squeeze. And then I'm gonna add my glue. I'm gonna add it to all 4 pieces. And if you see an air bubble coming up, which you possibly could, put the lid on it. I thought I saw one, but it didn't, it's not boiling over, so that's good. I'll keep an eye on that. Alright, I'm going to start with my 2 long sides. If your paper's directional, just make sure that you've got the paper facing the right way. Not that it matters. It's like a little storage tray. So there's one piece. I'll flip it around. Yep. Here's the other piece. Like that. And then I'm going to add these 2 side pieces. So it's just like you would mat your small keepsake box. You just have to mat it 3 times over. Okay, so I'm going to mat the rest of them. So there they all are right there. I'm going to mat the rest of them, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the whole thing matted on the inside. Yay. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to have to measure the bottom of the box because I'm going to put a whole full sheet on here. So this measures approximately 10 and, I'm going to write it down on the box. 10 3/8 by 4 7/8. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer this time. This is a Fiskars Precision Heavy Duty. I'll link it below. This is Ranger Tim Holtz. What color is this? Dusty Concord. This has got to be one of my favorite color purples. I have a whole bunch of it because I love it so much. Let's see if we got 4 7/8 here. Yep. So I'm going to trim it to 4 7/8 and then 10 3/8. Just like that. And I'm going to take a minute to ink the edges just because I don't know how many times I'm going to flip it over, but you never know. So I'm going to ink these edges real quick. And then because I plan on sliding it all over my station here, my workspace, my worktop, I'm going to use score tape on the edges. And then I'm going to use liquid glue in the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to take the backing off all of this. I want to push it down first, Jen. There we go. And I'm going to put some, I didn't even make sure this fit. Oh, that's dangerous. Oh well. So now I'm going to put some Fabri-Tac in the middle. Just like that. Pull this box over here and line it. I hope it fits. Line it up. Hope it fits. Yeah, I didn't even use my glue stick trick. So then I'm going to burnish it down a little bit. So now I've got the bottom covered. Okay. So now we need to work on the sides. So what did we, what was that, 10 3/8? Let me write that down again. So we know the length was 10 3/8. It's the length. And then what was the width? What did I do? 4 7/8? Yes. But I have a template for this, so that one's not that big a deal. It's the length one that I needed. So I've picked out my paper that I'm going to use. This is a direction, but I don't care. I want to use the purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my mat for the outside dimensions of my box here. I just need this one right now, and I'm going to lay it on here. Like this. Oh, I don't need that line. Let's erase that line. So I'm going to mark 2 lines like this. And then I'm going to take it to my paper. I'm going to get my paper trimmer back out. Okay, so what did we say? 10 7/8. So let's start there. Cut it there. And then I'm going to cut it on the second line here. All the way down, keeping it straight. There's one cut. And then there's the other one. And this isn't too crucial either. So there's those two. And then I need this piece again because I need to cut 2 smaller strips. What did I do with that other piece? Aha! This is just one of the scraps that I had. So I'm just going to trace 2 of these off. Like that. And since I got my paper trimmer sitting here, I'm just going to go ahead and use it. Why not? Alright, now I have my outside pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up all the edges all the way around. Oh, I better check. Oh, look. Did I not? I must have trimmed it wrong. Maybe it wasn't 10 7/8. Okay, well, we're just going to mark it with my finger, and I'll just trim that much off. Maybe it was 10 3/8. Yep, 7/8 was the wrong measurement. It was 10 3/8. I had it on that piece of paper. Duh. Okay, I'm glad I checked that. I may not have been real happy once I glued that down. Alright, no big deal. Easy fix. So I'm going to ink all 4 of these pieces up with my archival ink and coffee, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got all 4 pieces inked up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm really enjoying this shabby look. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that Prima Distress tool, and I'm going to use this little notch thing right here, and I'm going to shabby up these edges. Not too bad. This is thick cardstock, so if you're using just like a lightweight paper, you may want to skip this part or tear it instead of trim it out with your paper trimmer. Do you know what I mean? Give it that, whoa, got a little too excited there. So I'm going to do this to all 4 pieces. Okay, so I've distressed the edges pretty good. I'll flip them all over. I can't seem to talk today. And I'm going to add glue to all 4 pieces, and then I'm going to add them to my box. I'm going to set this down. These long strips are, you can use your tape runner for this too. I just don't have mine out right now. I've got my glue out, so that's what I'm going to use. So I've glued them all. I've put glue on all of them, I mean. Let's see, is this the front of my, oh, this is the back of my box. Which piece do I want on the front of my box? So I'm going to stick this piece, one of these long pieces, on the back here. This does have a direction on it, but since it's such a small strip, you can't really see it, so I'm not concerned. So there's one. And let me put this other long one on. Alright. So that's it. That's it. That's all she wrote. It's that easy. I mean, it was pretty easy. This would take you a couple hours at most to make one of these little trays. Plus, it's just fun to make your own supplies, you know? So, you know, my thought is I can put my glue in here. Where's my glue stick? See, I'm always losing my glue stick. I'll put my glue stick in here. I can put my, my tape. Let me see here. I can put my tape in here. like that, maybe in the center, right? And then when I'm working on special things, like with those India inks, I can put those in there, and I can put the sprays in there, and then these little gold pots that I was talking about, I can put those in there. So I think, you know, I'm always losing this tool. You know, I can have that in there. So I'm thinking this is a win-win right here. I really, really dig it. Put my distress stain in there. Although I don't use that all the time, but I wouldn't keep my ink in here because I've got my little tray. So I'm totally cool with that. But like when I was using my little ink pad, I could have kept the, it's just, you should see, I'm gonna take a picture and you can see what I got going on the side here. It's just a hot mess. Y'all are gonna be like, what? Okay. Can you see it? That's what my workspace looks like. So here's the box that I'm just, you know, here's this. And then over here, this is where I keep everything else that I'm using. See the hot mess it is? I mean, there's just stuff everywhere. Anyway, so I think this will be great. I think this is a great idea. I wonder if like my bone folder, I wonder if that kind of stuff would be okay sitting in there. Probably. I don't always have this out. I don't know if I'd put my scissors in there because they might poke through, but I bet you I can find a lot of uses for this. I'm super, super excited. I don't think I should put my craft knife in there either because without the lid on, it'll poke through. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit this little round button right there and then check out these other videos. And I'll see you next time. Bye.